Amelia felt a rush of excitement as she pushed open the creaky front gate to her grandparents' little white house. A dozen tiny pots of marigolds and daisies perched prettily along the stone pathway, evidence of her grandmother's love for all living things. On an ordinary day, Amelia would have sprinted to the front door, letting it bang shut behind her as she flung her arms around her grandparents' necks. But today, only an echo of footsteps accompanied her. She gripped a small black tote in one hand, its zipper trembling with newness. Inside this bag nestled a shiny laptop, the same one that had mystified Grandpa just days before. For as long as she could remember, tech-savvy gadgets had both intrigued and baffled her grandparents. They hadn't subscribed to Wi-Fi until neighbors gently convinced them it was time. Grandma wanting to research better potting methods, Grandpa hoping to check the weather for fishing. It had been Amelia's dream for months to show her grandparents that this modern technology held power not just for the practical, but for bringing worlds together. With her parents busy working across the country, Amelia knew these new tools were a way to help her grandparents stay in closer contact even after she returned to her own home. She placed the tote on the porch, carefully unzipping it. Before stepping inside, she took a moment to breathe in the warm summer air. This wouldn't be just a typical visit. She had big plans, teaching Grandma and Grandpa how to navigate video calls, emails, and the basics of connecting with family and friends anywhere in the world. The quaint white door beckoned her in, and she drew out her grandparents' spare key, using it to gently nudge the door open. The hallway smelled of fresh lavender, always an Amelia favorite, Grandma's signature. Sure enough, Grandma's gentle voice floated from the kitchen. "Is that you, sweetheart?" Amelia set down her tote. "It's me," she called back, stepping onto the faded floral rug in the living room. "I brought something for us to try." Grandma's flower-dusted hands and bright eyes appeared around the kitchen's doorframe. "What do you have there, darling?" she asked, offering her cheek for Amelia's customary greeting kiss. "Have you eaten? I'm making bread. I can make you a sandwich or whip up something delicious." "It smells wonderful in here," Amelia replied, inhaling the yeasty aroma of baking dough. She couldn't help smiling when she saw a table full of half-sliced vegetables and cheese, obviously assembled in anticipation of her arrival. "I'd love something to eat, but first, can we gather in the living room? I want to show you both something." Grandma's expression flickered between curiosity and mild concern. "Of course. I'll just call your grandpa from the backyard." She wiped her hands on her apron, exclaiming, "Harold! Harold! Come in here. Amelia's here with something special." At that, Amelia heard the squeak of a screen door. Grandpa always spent his afternoons in the backyard, tinkering with small projects, carving figurines, fixing garden ornaments. Soon enough, he leaned into the living room, a broad grin on his face. "My favorite granddaughter." He said it proudly, albeit teasingly. Amelia was his only granddaughter, making that statement quite true by default. Clasping her hands around his, Amelia led him to the couch, where Grandma joined them a moment later. Amelia presented them with the slim laptop. "I know you have a desktop, but this is a little more portable, easier to set up." Grandpa's eyes flickered with amused skepticism. "Those young lady. You want to show two old folks how to use that contraption, do you?" Amelia nodded. "I do. I think it'll be fun. And I'll even help set up a video call once you both feel comfortable. Then we can talk to Mom and Dad, maybe even Aunt Rita in Florida if you want." Grandma's lips pressed into a thoughtful smile. "I'd love to see Rita's face more often." A nostalgic sadness crept into her features. She and her sister lived states apart, and they relied on long letters, phone calls, and the occasional text message, which Rita's granddaughter typed out for her. The idea of calling face-to-face through the computer captivated Grandma immediately. Eager to begin, Amelia flipped open the laptop. It glowed to life, offering the familiar swirl of colors that indicated the machine was booting up. "To start, we need to connect to your Wi-Fi. You do have it now, right?" she teased gently, recalling how it had taken an embarrassing phone call to their internet provider to get them set up. Grandpa couldn't even remember the password. Amelia had had to search for the little label on the back of the router. Grandpa frowned, rummaging in the side table drawer for a slip of paper. Yes, it's here somewhere. It's ECS something something. His searching slowed as if he was losing hope, then a triumphant, aha! He held up a wrinkled scrap of paper. Grandma peered over his shoulder. Is it still correct, though? I remember we changed something on the day we moved that router behind the television. Amelia just laughed gently. Let's try it. If it doesn't work, I'll help figure it out. She typed in the password, hitting connect. The screen blinked, then displayed a bright, connected message. We're in, Amelia said, turning the laptop so everyone could see. Grandma leaned in, smoothing back her gray hair. Beautiful. Now what? Now, Amelia said, pointing at a circular icon on the desktop. We open the browser and visit a website like your favorite gardening site. She gave Grandma's shoulder a friendly nudge. You mentioned you wanted to learn about new fertilizer techniques, right? Grandma nodded. I do get frustrated trying to navigate on that old desktop. So slow, and I can't see everything I want on one screen. Amelia typed in a large search engine's website and explained how to input Grandma's queries. Geranium fertilizer best practices, and so on. Grandma's eyes shone as the page filled with images and articles. She scanned the text, excitedly telling Grandpa about the information. Amelia's next demonstration involved the camera. Now for the fun part, video calls. She opened the application she'd installed for them. We're going to set you up with an account. That way you can sign in on your own, and then all you have to do is click a button to call me or Mom and Dad. Grandpa's eyebrows shot up. So, after you leave, we can see you again whenever we want? He blinked, clearly still amazed by how easy it sounded. She guided them through creating a username and password. They exchanged playful quips about what username made sense. Grandma wanted Flower Grandma, while Grandpa jokingly suggested Tech Master Harold. In the end, they settled on a more straightforward handle, combining their names. Soon the profile was ready. Let's do a test call, Amelia proposed. Well, call Mom from here. She opened up a contacts page, found her mother's account, and exclaimed, let's see if she's free to answer. Grandma almost bounced on the couch cushion in excitement, pulling Grandpa close. Amelia initiated the call, and after a few rings, a friendly face popped up on the screen. Amelia's mother, looking a bit startled but delighted. Hello, Mom said, her voice tinny but recognizable. Amelia, is that you? Where are you calling from? She paused, adjusting her camera. Is that Grandpa and Grandma? It is, Mary cheered. We're giving them a tutorial. See, you can talk to them whenever you want now. Grandpa leaned forward, mouth gaping till Grandma gently nudged him. Oh my goodness, Mary, he said in wonder. I can see your face. Look at this. This is better than TV. Mom laughed. I'm so glad I can see all of you perfectly, too. She spoke warmly. Mom, Dad, I've missed you. How are things at home? Everything looks the same behind you. No big changes, I hope. But your eyes are certainly shining. A sudden warmth flooded Grandma's cheeks. She wiped them with the corner of her apron. It's incredible, Mary. We've never done anything like this before. The conversation filled the living room with an aura of excitement and closeness. Topics jumped everywhere, from the bread in the oven to the fishing reels Grandpa was refurbishing to church bake sales and volunteer programs. By the time they said goodbye, it was hard to let the conversation end. Still, bread was waiting, so they finally clicked the end button. Over the next few weeks, Amelia returned each afternoon, continuing her grandparents' lessons. She showed them how to place video calls themselves, add new contacts, send emails, and even shop online. Grandma marveled at the ease of finding unique seedlings and specialized gardening gloves. No more waiting for them to appear at the local hardware store. Grandpa discovered digital how-to guides for carving. He admitted that even if he mostly learned by trial and error, it was handy to pick up tips from more experienced woodworkers. Of course, it wasn't all smooth sailing. One especially warm afternoon when Amelia was away at school, Grandma tried initiating a call to Aunt Rita. Though she navigated fairly well, she mixed up her contact with some other, similarly named account. She ended up calling a confused neighbor who politely said hello, remarking that he hoped he hadn't pocket-dialed her by accident. Then Grandma, flustered, blurted an apology and hung up. When Amelia arrived later, tired from classes, she found Grandma hunched over the laptop, wearing a deeply embarrassed look. You poor dear, Amelia sighed, gently placing an arm around her shoulders. It's okay. Everybody mixes up phone numbers or contacts now and then. Let's see how we can fix it in the address book. Despite the challenges, there was a new energy around the house. Grandpa had taken to checking daily weather forecasts and tidbits of news on the laptop, since the pictures were so crisp. Grandma spent hours researching new gardening tips and planning which relatives to call next. They'd started scheduling Sunday chats with Aunt Rita, even if it meant a bit of fumbling with the call button. Amelia, proud of their progress, extended her visits each time. While she guided them, she also found herself learning valuable lessons, namely the importance of patience and simple explanations. She realized how vast and potentially overwhelming the digital world appeared to people raised in a different era. Watching her grandparents' wide-eyed fascination at something as simple as a search engine reminded her of the first time she'd ever used a pencil or read a library book. Knowledge was truly breathtaking when it was brand new. As the summer sun rose higher, Amelia knew that her flyback date to her parents' city approached. She had come to spend the summer holiday with her grandparents, but that time was drawing to a close. Each day that she taught them a new feature, it was partly to reassure herself that after she left, they'd be able to manage on their own and perhaps even flourish with their new digital tool set. One day, she fell asleep on the couch, waiting for Grandma, who had been out in the garden watering some particularly thirsty begonias. By the time Grandma returned, she found Amelia dozing, laptop perched precariously on her knees. With motherly care, she slid the device away and draped a light blanket over Amelia's shoulders. When Grandpa ambled in, he treated them both to a freshly brewed pot of tea and quietly joined Grandma on the porch. There, the two shared a soft conversation. Harold, Grandma began, her voice low and warm, do you think we've been learning enough? Amelia's leaving soon, and I want to be able to do all these things without her guiding every step. Grandpa considered. I've told her just yesterday how to switch on the laptop, open our video call app, and navigate the browser. It's not as complicated as it felt the first time, though I still struggle to remember which icon is for, oh, what do you call that program that shows pictures of folks in squares? Grandma laughed quietly. Yes, I get those icons confused too. But, it's been more enjoyable than I ever thought. The idea that we can instantly see Mary and her family or talk to Aunt Rita face to face, it's a gift I never expected to have at our age. They let the moment of gratitude wash over them. Eventually, Grandpa reached for Grandma's hand. Let's keep practicing. And we should do something special for Amelia to thank her. On the little wooden porch table sat a notepad and pen. Grandma began jotting down thoughts, and soon they decided on a plan. They'd schedule a surprise group call for Amelia's last day, one featuring the entire extended family, and, with Grandpa determined to place the call himself, they'd make sure it happened live with no mistakes. That would be their token of gratitude and love. The day before Amelia was set to leave, she glanced at a half-packed suitcase in her bedroom. She had folded a few t-shirts and jeans, but the idea of leaving her grandparents tugged at her heartstrings. She was both proud of how much they'd learned and worried that they still might need her. Oh, they'll be fine, she told herself, half to stifle her nerves. They can always call me if they're stuck on something. She offered to help Grandpa with the laptop in the living room, but he waved her away. It's a lovely day, sweetheart. Take that walk by the lakeside that you love so much, he suggested. I want to tinker with the wood carvings for a bit. You've been cooped up inside too much teaching us. It was unusual for Grandpa to voluntarily collect the laptop or close the living room door, but Amelia didn't think too deeply about it. She borrowed Grandma's old straw sun hat and ventured onto the path by Lake Brimwood, losing herself in the glittering water and lazy dipping birds. Back inside the living room, Grandpa carefully opened the instructions Amelia had typed out for him. They read, 1. Make sure the computer is on and connected to Wi-Fi. 2. Open the video call application. Log in with a username and password. 3. Press the Contacts button, the icon shaped like a silhouette. 4. Search for the person you want to call or start a group call. 5. Carefully choose each contact. 6. Press the green button to initiate the call. He exhaled a deep breath. "Here goes," he whispered to himself. Grandma stood at his side, giving him an encouraging squeeze on the shoulder. Step 1. He pressed the power button. A soft glow lit up the screen. "All right, so far so good." He typed in the password, which they'd practiced. He found the video call icon that Amelia had pinned to the taskbar. "It's the swirling camera shape," he reminded himself out loud. They opened the app, typed in their login credentials, and soon a user-friendly home screen popped up. Grandma clapped softly. "Brilliant, Harold. Now find call or contacts." Grandpa squinted, locating the silhouette icon. He clicked it. Up came their contact list. They had carefully inputted each family member: Mary, Amelia's mom; Robert, Amelia's dad; Aunt Rita in Florida; cousin Sandra in Texas; and Amelia herself. They also had a slot for their next-door neighbor, but Grandma decided that calling him today might distract from the family circle. The plan was to coordinate a time with everyone in advance, so earlier that day, they'd quietly sent texts and tried to confirm availability. The hour had come. Grandpa pressed the group checkbox for each contact: Mary, Robert, Aunt Rita, and, though they decided to keep Amelia out of the initial ring so the surprise wouldn't be spoiled, they planned to add her at the last moment. With a trembling finger, Grandpa pressed the green button. The screen shook, initiating a group connection. Grandma held her breath as ringtones beeped. Then, one by one, faces popped in. Mary, wearing a wide grin; Robert, just finishing up something in the kitchen but hurrying to wave; Aunt Rita, sporting a big sun hat reminiscent of her Florida life, beamed and clapped joyfully. They waved at Grandpa and Grandma, who sat in delighted awe. They had done it themselves. "Hello, everyone," Grandpa exclaimed softly. "We did this call on our own. Amelia doesn't even know." Mary laughed excitedly. "That's fantastic, Dad. I can't believe you coordinated this." "We want to surprise Amelia," Grandma said, glancing toward the hall. "She's still out on her walk, but as soon as she comes in, we'll bring her into the room so she can see all your faces. Now, are we all ready to greet her?" They exchanged enthusiastic nods. Then, as if on cue, the front door creaked open. Expecting no conversation inside, Amelia poked her head in. "Grandpa?" she called, removing her straw hat. "Grandpa?" In the living room, Grandma waited. The second Amelia stepped inside, Grandpa beckoned her over, a mischievous grin spreading over his face. "We have a little surprise," he teased. Amelia was half expecting a fresh batch of cookies, or maybe a wooden figurine Grandpa had finished. But the sight of the open laptop and the array of her relatives' faces on the screen rendered her speechless. She squealed in delight. "Everyone's here!" Her parents, Aunt Rita, even cousin Sandra, who had joined in last minute. "Did you guys do this by yourselves?" Grandpa nodded proudly. "We sure did. Your instructions were so clear. And as a thank you for teaching us, we wanted to show you just how much we've learned." Mary's face glowed. "We're so proud, both of your grandparents for learning something new, and of you, Amelia, for being their teacher." Amelia sank onto the couch, tears glimmering in her eyes. "I never expected this. You guys are amazing. I'm so proud of you." She gazed at the screen, noticing her aunt's big grin and her father blowing her a kiss. The entire family was there, connected in a way that physically spanned continents, yet felt intimately close. For a few minutes, the group chat turned into one big admiration fest. Aunt Rita described the palm trees outside her house. Sandra updated them on her upcoming wedding plans. Mary and Robert invited Grandma and Grandpa to attend an online virtual tour of an art exhibit next week. It was a testament of just how many ways technology could bring them all together, no matter where they lived or how busy life became. After the calls ended, Amelia wiped her cheeks with a laugh. "I'm so thrilled," she said, enveloping Grandpa in a huge embrace and then turning to do the same for Grandma. "I guess you two don't need me hovering around after all." Grandma's eyes shone with affection. We'll always need you, Amelia, but not for everything. You've taught us to handle this at least. They decided to celebrate with a final summer dinner. The three of them pulled fresh produce from Grandma's garden, tomatoes, cucumbers, parsley, and prepared a colorful salad. Grandpa grilled fish fillets from his recent catch, garnishing them with lemon and spices. Amelia helped shape the dough for dinner rolls, while Grandma fluttered around the kitchen, guiding with her steady hands. Together, the cooking felt extra meaningful, as though every new laugh or nudge of an elbow was woven with acceptance, pride, and a renewed bond. After dinner, they carried the dishes to the sink. Hand washing them gave Amelia time to speak her heart. I wish I could stay longer, she said softly over the running water. But I'll be just a phone call away, or a video call away, really. She paused, catching her grandparents' gazes. I remember how, before all this, we mostly just wrote letters. Now I can see you both whenever we want, even if we're miles apart. Grandpa dried a plate, letting the warmth of the moment settle in. You're right, he said, sounding at peace. And, thanks to you, we're not afraid of using this technology anymore. It felt intimidating, but you showed us it's just a tool, a precious tool that helps keep family together. Grandma placed a clean dish on the rack. We're grateful for every minute you spent teaching us patience and kindness. You've truly given us a gift. Amelia felt tears prickling again, but she held them back and offered a radiant smile. I love you both so much, she whispered, letting the water run over her hands in a soothing current. I hope one day, if I'm lucky enough to become a grandmother myself, I'll remember how to keep learning. The next morning, the taxi pulled up outside the house to take Amelia to the airport. She hugged Grandpa so tightly she could feel the shape of his reading glasses in his shirt pocket. Then she wrapped her arms around Grandma, feeling the softness of her sweater and the faint smell of lavender. There was a moment of silence, the kind that only forms when love overflows words. Promise you'll call us as soon as you land, Grandma said, stroking Amelia's hair gently. Amelia gave a teary grin. I will, though I want you two to call me first. That would be the real sign you've become phone experts, Grandpa laughed. Deal. We'll show off our new skills before you even get settled. Amelia climbed into the taxi, rolling her window down to wave like a child. As the car pulled away, she still saw them standing at the white gate, arms around each other. A feeling of peace and warmth swelled in her heart, not sadness, but a reassurance that this new form of closeness would endure. And endure it did. Later that evening, at a small cafe near the bustling airport, Amelia sat waiting for her connecting flight. She pulled out her phone, checking for any messages. A small notification popped up. Incoming video call, Grandma and Grandpa. Delighted, Amelia quickly accepted, and there they were. Grandpa in his living room chair, smiling widely, Grandma perched on the arm beside him. It was as if they were right beside her, telling her to stay safe, enjoy her journey, and remember she was only a call away. She realized in that crowded cafe that what she had taught them was so much more than how to click icons or join calls. It was the reassurance that no matter how vast the distance, love and connection can overcome any gap, even one as wide as the technology gap between generations. She watched the screen, hearing their voices over the hum of travelers, and felt the glow of a bond that no turbulence or miles could sever. She whispered a grateful thank you to the camera, tears in her eyes once more, and ended the call with a promise to see them soon on the screen and someday in person again. Warmth spread through her, a confirmation of her grandparents' determination, her own patience, and a lesson learned anew. Barriers exist only until love offers a bridge.